Welcome to this explainer. All right, let's jump right in. Today, we are dissecting a concept called the peril of comfort. And we're going to be looking at this strictly through the lens of executive risk management. Because here is the harsh reality in business. Playing it completely safe? Well, that might actually be the most dangerous strategy of all. Let's get into it.
So, I want you to imagine your enterprise 5 years from right now. The exact same operations, the exact same revenue streams, or maybe the exact same excuses for why a smaller, more agile competitor just beat you to a brand new market. You know, in this era of relentless disruption, staying the exact same isn't a safe harbor. No way. It's actually a massive compounding liability. It is quite literally a slow fade into irrelevance.
To really grasp this, we have to completely redefine this idea of the comfort zone. Now, in corporate cultures, a legacy product, or maybe a nice, stable, mature market, it feels like a safe haven, right? It's highly predictable, we know the margins, but actually, that is the exact place where innovation slowly disappears. The absolute biggest strategic danger your organization faces right now isn't a failed R&D project. It's the invisible risk disguised as safety. It's the danger of clinging so tightly to what worked yesterday while your whole industry is already moving on to tomorrow.
So why do we get trapped here? Well, it's because our corporate collective brain just deeply craves the familiar. This hardwiring leads to repeating the same habits every single quarter. We're talking about the same routine, the same flatlined income, and yep, those same exact excuses. If your company is running a playbook from last decade without continually pushing the boundaries, you are definitely exhibiting the symptoms of comfort. And honestly, you might just be confusing operational momentum with actual strategic growth.
Our source material uses a really striking metaphor here. A bird can't learn to fly if it never leaves the nest. And the business translation of that is brutal but true. Absolutely nothing grows inside a comfort zone. If you never leave the nest of your legacy products to go test out new territories, your enterprise is never going to learn how to fly in the changing market. You literally have to be willing to disrupt yourself before a competitor does it for you.
Think of fear as that one highly biased, inherently flawed board member. It constantly whispers, but what if you fail? And it forces leadership to hyperfixate on things like lost capital or public missteps or maybe a temporary dip in earnings. But here's the thing. Fear never stops to calculate the opportunity cost. Courage, on the other hand, asks the real transformative question, what if you succeed? Because every untapped market, every breakthrough innovation exists entirely on the other side of that fear.
Keep in mind, every single successful market leader once felt terribly uncomfortable. Think about it. That first major pivot, acquiring a disruptive startup, completely overhauling your digital infrastructure, it is incredibly painful at first. The integration is always a total mess. But discomfort isn't a sign your overarching strategy is failing. It's just a sign you're growing. It's the friction of growth. Those early attempts at enterprise-wide change are always tough, but they are absolutely essential for long-term survival.
Okay, let's make this concrete with a comparative case study. I want you to imagine two competing organizations led by highly capable peers. Both leadership teams have this massive directive to dominate the market and transform their company's trajectory. They're both looking at the exact same industry disruptions and macroeconomic shifts, but they make two fundamentally different strategic choices when faced with the unknown.
So, Leader A chooses comfort. They commission endless market reports, they bring in high-priced consultants, they go to all the global summits, but they never actually allocate the budget to move. It's total analysis paralysis. Now, Leader B feels that exact same risk. They are just as aware of the potential for failure, but they choose agile execution. They feel afraid, but they start anyway, knowing full well that perfection is the ultimate enemy of progress.
Now watch how this plays out over time. On day one, it's just a simple choice, action versus inaction. But fast forward 1 year later, Leader A just has way more heavily researched excuses for why the timing isn't right. Meanwhile, Leader B has acquired real-world market experience and invaluable proprietary data. 5 years later, Leader A is sitting on the sidelines fighting over a shrinking market share, and Leader B is living the success they both mapped out half a decade ago. That is the compounding ROI of taking calculated risks.
And here is the real kicker from that 5-year gap. The difference wasn't capital. It wasn't that Leaders B had way better resources or a massive war chest or even better innate talent. No, the primary differentiator was courage. Sustained market dominance wasn't born from their starting position. It was born from a cultural willingness to act in the absolute face of uncertainty.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. Do I need to bet the entire company tomorrow? Absolutely not. In fact, betting the farm is usually pretty reckless. Instead, we need to look at a highly effective mitigation strategy, which is the strategy of small risks. You do not have to overhaul your entire enterprise overnight to break free from complacency. The real secret here lies in micro-innovations.
You really don't need to risk it all to start moving. Start with actionable micro-innovations. Speak up in a meeting, learn a new skill, or apply for that opportunity. In an executive context, this means low-stakes pilot programs. Empower a junior team to run a quick, agile sprint on a new product idea. Or, approve a small, contained budget for that new tech you've been putting off implementing. When an organization stacks these small acts of corporate courage together, they compound, and they build a fiercely innovative enterprise that is constantly probing the market for new advantages.
The ultimate goal is to build a corporate culture that is deeply comfortable with being uncomfortable. You have to train yourself to face discomfort. The best executives don't magically avoid friction. They actively train their teams to face it head-on. Because every market challenge makes your organization stronger. Every failure brings vital, usable data that makes you wiser. And every calculated risk brings success that much closer. Organizational change is never comfortable, sure, but staying the exact same is a slow, guaranteed death.
Comfort feels amazing today, doesn't it? It looks super safe on the quarterly balance sheet. It keeps the shareholders happy for a minute. But tomorrow, it turns into irrelevance. How many leadership teams sit around saying, "Oh, we'll launch that digital initiative next quarter," or "We're just waiting for the perfect macroeconomic conditions"? Well, the text warns us forcefully. One day becomes never. Your market position doesn't change by waiting around. It only changes by acting.
Which brings us to the final, absolutely critical question for you and your board. Will you choose comfort or will you choose growth? The biggest strategic leaps you can make, the market leadership you are meant to achieve, are waiting for you right on the other side of fear. So here's my challenge to you. Approve one micro-innovation this week that scares you just a little bit. Because while your legacy business model might feel super safe today, it is actually the most dangerous place to park your enterprise. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I hope it gave you exactly what you need to finally step out of that comfort zone.